A very couple brief points to share with you, but please put those questions in the chat of this Zoom that you're on right now, of course, with your name and the outlet that you are with. It is Sunday, October 5th, almost 2 years to the day that Hamas brutally invaded Israel and took our people hostage. Prime Minister Netanyahu delivered a critical message last night that Israel is on the brink of an incredible achievement here, bringing back all 48 of our hostages alive and deceased, and also putting an end to this brutal war while ensuring Hamas, the terror organization, doesn't pose a threat to the state of Israel in the future. Now, although the deal is not yet finalized, the Prime Minister is hopeful that by the holiday of Sukkot, he will be able to share news that the 48 hostages are in fact returning home, with IDF forces remaining deep inside of the Gaza Strip and in the area that they control. Now, bringing the hostages home is a commitment Prime Minister Netanyahu has never given up on and has never forgotten about. For 730 days, the Prime Minister has heard the suffering of loved ones, saw the pain of family members who have pleaded desperately for their loved ones to return home after they were barbarically taken from their homes, their vehicles, or simply just a music festival. Our hostages have endured what no human being should ever have to go through, living in the depths of hell inside of Gaza, held by terrorists who are torturing and starving them. All hostages, whether the 20 alive or the 28 deceased, the Prime Minister will live up to this obligation to make sure they are saved from the dark Hamas dungeons of Gaza for a second chance at life or for a proper burial, as per the wishes of their families. Now, this development comes with talks that will be taking place in Egypt, as the Prime Minister instructed the team, led by Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, to finalize the technical details of the release of the hostages, a priority and first step of this deal. Now, the team will be leaving tonight with plans for talks to begin tomorrow, and I want to reiterate, these are technical talks. Israel's government has agreed to the first phase of this deal, which is the release of all 48 hostages at once. As President Trump confirmed, it has been agreed to. Hamas, the terror organization, will need to release our hostages. Israel's team of negotiators will be meeting in Egypt to iron out these very specific details on the first phase right now. Now, the Prime Minister has also made it clear that in an agreement with the Trump administration, talks will be confined to a few days maximum, with no tolerance for maneuvers that will delay talks by Hamas. Israel is standing by the 72-hour deadline from the moment all details are solidified with Hamas and will be ready immediately to receive all of our hostages. The Prime Minister is in regular contact with President Trump, who stressed Hamas must move quickly, quote, or else all bets will be off. The relationship between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump is not only historic, but an unprecedented bond that is working together to create peace in the Middle East for years to come. With coordination between both leaders, Prime Minister Netanyahu has turned the tables here, leading to diplomatic moves that have now isolated Hamas, not only inside of Gaza by their own people, but by Arab and Muslim countries as well. Now, as a result of intense military pressure, specifically in the Hamas terror stronghold of Gaza City, and diplomatic pressure, Hamas was pressured to agree to this plan. The Prime Minister said this deal would happen in 2 stages, with the first one being the release of all of the hostages and the redeployment of IDF forces in this initial withdrawal line. The second stage of this deal will be the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip, which the Prime Minister says will happen either through a diplomatic channel, according to the Trump plan, or by a military route by Israel. Now, this deal was already agreed by the Israeli government before Prime Minister Netanyahu actually left for the United States, as the Prime Minister has made it abundantly clear there will be no future of Hamas inside of the Gaza Strip, and there will be no threat to the state of Israel, and Hamas will be demilitarized and disarmed. Prime Minister Netanyahu was explicit in saying this. This will be achieved the easy way, or it will be achieved the hard way, but either way, the end result will be achieved. Now, that's the end of our briefing right now. Please put your questions inside of the chat so I can answer a few of them. Okay, so the first question is from David Isaac with JNS. The question is Israel okay with stopping operations while Hamas renegotiates the agreement? Right now, as I said before, at this point in time, it appears that Hamas has accepted this agreement. While certain bombings have actually stopped inside of the Gaza Strip, there's no ceasefire in place at this point in time, although there has been this temporary halt in certain bombings. The Prime Minister has given orders actually for defense to fire back for defensive purposes, of course, if there is a threat to their life in the battlefield in Gaza. Okay, and this is from Or Shaked from Israel Hayom. What is your level of confidence that Hamas will indeed release all hostages within the 72 hours? Confirming an agreement is a formal confirmation necessary on Hamas's end. Of course, the number one goal before anything else takes place is the release of the 48 hostages all at one time. That is the first thing that needs to happen in order for anything to take place at this point in time. There is no exception to that. So, Carrie Khan from NPR, can you please explain how Israel's withdrawal will occur? Will the IDF move out of the Netzrim corridor? Will people be allowed to go back north? And would that happen as soon as the first hostage is released? So I will answer that question based on the information that I presented about these talks that are happening inside of Egypt over the next day or so. I specifically said these are technical details that will need to be ironed out. So in terms of whether the IDF will be pulling out of certain areas, all of this stuff will be ironed out within the next few days. These are really critical details and, of course, extremely sensitive. So we, of course, are being cautious of that. These are sensitive talks, and we want to make sure that all 48 of these hostages are released as soon as possible here. So this is Eric from ABC News. When does the 72-hour deadline begin, and what else needs, if anything, prior to the 72 hours starting? The 72 hours begin once Hamas officially accepts this deal. The Prime Minister actually just said in an interview previously, it appears that Hamas has accepted this deal. But the first phase, and I continue to reiterate this because this is how critical it is to the Prime Minister, is that all 48 hostages need to be coming out. That's when this the 72-hour deadline, and of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu has reiterated this. In addition to what President Trump said, there's no exceptions for any delays or stalling by Hamas in these talks that will be taking place.
That was the last question.
Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate your time.